What would you do if a cop dropped a little bag by your car and then acted like it was yours? In that moment, one scared move can make you look guilty. And if you touch it, kick it, or start babbling, you can help build the case against yourself. Before I reveal the exact words, hit subscribe right now so you can find this video fast when a real stop happens. Like this video too, because what you're about to hear could save your freedom when your brain freezes. Here's what you need to know. If something lands by your tire, your door, or under your seat area, your job is not to fix the moment. Your job is to protect your rights. I'm going to show you the first sentence you say, the second sentence you say, and the one sentence you never stop repeating. I'm also going to show you why cops love panic, why silence is your shield, and how your own hands can become the strongest evidence against you. Most people have no idea how fast a simple stop can turn into a search, an arrest, or hours in a holding cell. I've analyzed over 200 body cam videos, and the pattern is always the same. The driver thinks being helpful will save them. It usually does the opposite. You need to understand why this matters so much. A traffic stop is supposed to be short. License, registration, maybe a ticket, then you leave. But the second something appears near your car, the whole mood changes. Now the officer watches your face, your hands, your words, your body. If you bend down, they say you reached for it. If you kick it away, they say you tried to hide it. If you grab it and hand it over, they say you handled it because you knew what it was. Here's the reality. Most drivers talk themselves right into trouble because they think sounding innocent is the same as being protected. It's not. Your rights don't protect you automatically. You have to use them clearly, calmly, and in the right order. Your first move is simple. Do not touch anything, and say that out loud right away. Here's exactly what you say. Officer, that item is not mine. I'm not touching it. Word for word. Memorize that line. Then keep your hands where they can be seen. On the wheel if you're inside the car. At your sides if you're outside. No pointing with your feet. No nudging it. No picking it up to help. No brushing it away because you're nervous. Watch what happens. The second you leave it alone, you stop helping create a story. You're forcing the officer to deal with the item without using your fingerprints, your movement, or your panic as part of the scene. Here's the trick they don't want you knowing. A lot of cases turn on tiny facts. Who touched what? Who moved what? Who looked scared? Who tried to get rid of it? Your job is to give them none of that. You are not there to solve the mystery. You are there to avoid becoming the mystery. Former police officers have confirmed this works because calm, visible hands change how the whole stop plays out. You look controlled. You look consistent. You look like someone protecting your rights, not someone scrambling to hide evidence. Bad way. Most drivers say, "That's not mine, I swear." And then they kick the item away. Then the officer says they tried to hide it, and now the stop gets much worse. Good way. Smart drivers say, "Officer, that item is not mine. I'm not touching it." Then the officer has to handle the item without your movement making you look guilty. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings. In California versus Hodari D., the court basically said that when police can show someone threw something away, that item can be treated like abandoned property. In plain English, if it looks like you tossed it, dropped it, or ditched it, the court may stop caring that it was ever yours in the first place. That is why you never grab, throw, or move anything near your car. Even if you are innocent, you do not want your hands entering that story. Defense attorneys use this exact line in court because it gives them something clear to work with later. Your statement is simple. Your hands stayed off it. Your behavior stayed calm. That is how you protect yourself in the first 10 seconds. Let's be real about the bad outcome. You bend down and say, "I was just moving it away from my car." Now the officer writes that you reached quickly, appeared nervous, and tried to conceal an unknown item. That becomes the report. That becomes the body cam clip they replay. That becomes the reason they say your behavior gave them more suspicion. The good outcome is not that the officer smiles and apologizes. The good outcome is that you do not make their case stronger. That matters more than people think. Still watching? Good. Drop a comment if you've ever seen a stop go bad just because someone panicked for 1 second. Your second move is to lock the stop back to its real purpose. You need to find out if this is still a traffic stop or if they are trying to turn it into a fishing trip. You look at the officer and say this: "Am I being detained for a traffic violation or am I free to leave?" Those exact words. Keep your voice flat. No anger, no sarcasm, no long speech. Let me show you exactly why this matters. That question forces a line into the record. Either you're being held for the original reason or they are now keeping you longer. If they say you're free to leave, you leave. If they say you're detained, you now know the stop is still active and you stay calm and say less. This matters because officers often stretch a stop by using confusion. They ask more questions. They circle back. They wait for you to fill the silence. They hope you keep talking because talking creates chances for mistakes. Where are you coming from? Why are you so nervous? Who else has been in your car? You do not win that game by sounding nice. You win by finding out your status and not volunteering extra facts. Legal experts agree this is your strongest protection when a stop starts drifting away from the original reason. Bad way. Most drivers say, I'm not in a hurry, we can clear this up. And then they keep answering random questions. Then the stop gets longer, the officer keeps digging, and your words become evidence. Good way. Smart drivers say, am I being detained for a traffic violation, or am I free to leave? Then the officer has to make the stop clear instead of keeping you in limbo. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings, too. In Rodriguez v. United States, the court said police cannot drag out a traffic stop longer than needed just to go looking for other crimes, unless they have extra legal reasons. In normal English, a stop is not supposed to become a free fishing trip. If the mission is the ticket, they handle the ticket. If they want more time, they need more than your nervous face and your loose words. That is why your question matters so much. It shines a light on what they are doing. It tells the camera, the report, and later the court, that you are paying attention to the limit of the stop. Here's the reality. When you ask that question calmly, you stop acting like a confused target and start acting like someone who understands the rules. Officers notice that. Prosecutors notice that. Juries notice that. You're not being rude. You're being clear. This is 100% legal. And the clearer you are, the less room there is for your silence to be twisted into something else. Your third move is the line every driver should know by heart. If the officer asks to look in your car, your trunk, your bag, or anything else, you say one sentence and you keep saying it. Here's exactly what you say. Officer, I do not consent to any searches. Or word for word. That's it. No extra story. No but. No, I've got nothing to hide. No, go ahead if it helps. Just the line, then stop. This is where so many people wreck their own defense. They think refusing a search makes them look guilty. It doesn't. It makes you normal. It makes you careful. It makes you smart. Police ask for consent because consent is the easy road. If you say yes, they don't have to fight later about whether the search was legal. You gave it to them. And once you open that door, you can't close it by saying you changed your mind after they already found something. Let me show you exactly how this trap works. The officer smiles and says, you don't mind if I take a quick look, right? That sounds casual. It feels harmless. But if you say yes, you may have just erased one of your strongest protections. Bad way. Most drivers say, sure, I've got nothing to hide. Then the officer searches, finds anything unusual, and your own consent makes it much harder to challenge later. Good way. Smart drivers say, officer, I do not consent to any searches. Then you keep your rights in place, and the officer has to rely on actual legal grounds instead of your permission. The key case here is Schneckloth vis Bustamante. The court said police can rely on voluntary consent to search. In plain English, if you say yes, the search usually stands. The officer does not need you to know every detail of the law first. They just need your okay. That's why your refusal matters so much. Defense attorneys use this exact line in court because it is clean, simple, and hard to misunderstand. If the officer searches anyway, your refusal can still matter later. If you consent, you often lose that fight before it starts. And notice something important. Refusing consent does not mean you physically block a search. You do not grab the door. You do not argue. You do not pull away. You say the line and you stay calm. If they search anyway, let the camera and the report show that you never agreed. That can become huge later. This is 100% legal. Your voice is enough. Your refusal is enough. Your calm matters more than your volume. 90% of drivers don't know what's coming next. If you're still here, you're already ahead of almost everyone on the road. Drop a comment saying, I'm still here, because this next move is the one that keeps you from talking yourself into cuffs. Your fourth move starts the second the questions turn from traffic stuff into crime stuff. If the officer keeps pushing, accusing, or trying to get you to explain the item, the smell, the bag, the passenger, or your nervous behavior, you stop answering. Listen closely because this is critical. You say, I'm invoking my right to remain silent. I want a lawyer. Those exact words. Memorize them. Say them calmly, then actually go silent. A lot of drivers think they can talk their way out. They can't. Once an officer thinks they found a lead, every extra sentence you give them is material. Maybe you say you were at your cousin's house, then later you say your friend's place. Maybe you say nobody else used your car, then you remember your brother borrowed it last week. Now you look inconsistent. Now they say your story changed. That happens all the time. I've analyzed over 200 body cam videos, and people do more damage with their mouths than with anything else. Bad way. Most drivers say, I can explain, and then they keep talking for 10 straight minutes. Then their own words get cut into pieces and used against them. Good way. Smart drivers say, I am invoking my right to remain silent. I want a lawyer. Then questioning gets much harder to keep pushing, and you stop feeding the case. Your backup here is Miranda v. Arizona and later cases built on it. In normal English, you have the right to stop answering and ask for a lawyer. Once you clearly say that, your position gets much stronger. The key word is clearly, not maybe I should talk to a lawyer, not do you think I need one? Those are weak. Your line is strong. Former police officers have confirmed this works because it tells everyone in the moment that the conversation is over. You are not playing the guessing game anymore. And no, silence is not some magic button that makes the stop disappear. That is not the point. The point is that you stop making it worse. If they already plan to arrest you, talking will not save you. If they do not have enough, talking may give it to them. That is why your silence matters. That is why your lawyer matters. And that is why your exact words matter. Now let's put the law in plain English so you can actually use it. California v. Hodari D. teaches you not to create the look of abandonment. If something appears by your car, you do not touch it, move it, or help explain it away. Rodriguez Vazus, United States, teaches you that your stop has a limit. Police cannot just stretch it forever because they feel curious. Your question about whether you are detained or free to leave matters because it tests that limit. Schneckloth v. Bustamante teaches you that consent is powerful, and powerful in the wrong direction for you. If you say yes to a search, you make it much easier for that search to stand later. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings, but the lesson is simple enough for anyone to use. Keep your hands off unknown items. Make the stop clear. Refuse consent. Stop talking when the questions turn criminal. That is the whole playbook. Legal experts agree this is your strongest protection because each step cuts off a different way people usually hand over their rights for free. Now picture this with me. You're pulled over at night for a broken taillight. Your window is down, your license is in your hand. The officer walks back toward your rear door and a small package ends up by your back tire. Then the officer looks at you and says, "What's that?" "Here's the wrong way." You jump out and say, "That's not mine," while bending down. You nudge it with your shoe. The officer tells you to stop moving. Your heart starts racing. Then you say, "You can search. I don't care. I've got nothing." Now the officer says you looked panicked, moved toward possible evidence, and gave consent to search. Then you keep talking. You say your friend was in the car earlier. You say maybe it fell from his pocket. You say you were just trying to help. Suddenly your own words connect you to the item, connect another person to the item, and give the officer more reasons to dig. Now here's the right way. You keep your hands visible. You stay where you are. You say, "Officer, that item is not mine. I'm not touching it." Then you stop. If the officer starts drifting into random questions, you ask, "Am I being detained for a traffic violation, or am I free to leave?" If they ask to search the car, you say, "Officer, I do not consent to any searches." If they keep pressing about the item, you say, "I am invoking my right to remain silent. I want a lawyer." Then you stop talking. Watch what happens. You have not solved the stop, but you have stopped helping build the case. You did not touch the item. You did not consent. You did not ramble. You did not guess. You did not hand over your defense in the dark on the side of the road. That is the difference. The wrong way feels emotional and human in the moment, but it creates facts. The right way feels simple and controlled, and it protects you. You're not trying to win an argument on the roadside. You're trying to avoid losing your rights before you ever see a courtroom. Next video, I'm revealing what to say when cops claim they smell weed coming from your car. Subscribe right now because that line gets drivers searched every single day. And if you miss that video, you'll miss one of the most important responses you can learn. So lock this in. If something appears by your car, your first job is not to touch it and not to act scared. Your second job is to force the stop to stay clear by asking whether you're detained or free to leave. Your third job is to refuse every search out loud and on the record. Your fourth job is to stop talking the second the stop turns into an investigation. You do not need fancy legal words. You need calm words. You need repeatable words. And you need them ready before the red and blue lights ever hit your mirror. Hit subscribe so you catch that weed smell video next. Smash, like if this helped you protect your rights before you ever need them. And drop a comment telling me which line you're going to memorize first. Stay safe, stay calm, and protect your freedom.